Army split. Jungkook versus HYBE speculation triggers pros and cons. A huge wave of debate is shaking the world of BTS fans. This time it was not about a comeback, nor about achieving a new record, but about a speculation that made the army split into two camps. Jungkook's name is again at the center of the vortex of issues, and HYBE is dragged into the narrative that provokes emotions. There were no official statements, no open clarifications, but it was precisely the silence that made the fire of speculation even greater. All started from small changes that were considered unusual by hardline fans. Jungkook's activities tend to be quieter, the uploads feel cold, and the lack of involvement in HYBE's corporate narrative triggers questions. For some ARMY, this is just the resting phase of a global artist who has been working nonstop for more than a decade. But for others, something is perceived as wrong. This is where words like tension, distance, and even tacit conflict began to appear on social media. Jungkook and HYBE-themed hashtags took turns in the trending ranks. The narrative is getting wild, ranging from alleged differences in vision, contract pressure, to speculation that Jungkook is struggling to maintain autonomy as an adult artist. Although there has never been concrete evidence, the emotions of fans have been ignited first. The ARMY, which has been known to be solid, is now arguing with each other, even attacking each other just because of different points of view. The first camp considered this speculation dangerous. They confirmed that Jungkook is part of BTS, and BTS is the result of the system HYBE built. According to them, the Jungkook versus HYBE narrative is an overconstruction that has the potential to damage the artist's own image. They reminded that Jungkook repeatedly showed respect and loyalty towards his team and company. In this view, Jungkook's calmness is considered a sign of maturity, not resistance. But other camps see it with different glasses. They consider Jungkook is now in a very personal phase of life. He is no longer a teenager who debuted with an innocent dream, but a mature man who has borne the burden of the industry from a very young age. For this group, it's only natural that Jungkook wants more control over his life and career. They do not necessarily blame HYBE, but also do not turn a blind eye to the possibility of structural pressure that has not been seen publicly. What makes the situation even more sensitive is Jungkook's own image. During this time, he was known for his lack of controversy, rarely spoke openly about conflicts, and preferred to express himself through his work. Precisely because of this, the slightest changes feel significant. When Jungkook doesn't say much, fans speak for him. Unfortunately, the voices often collide with each other. Korean and international media are watching the phenomenon carefully. Some choose to use the term fan speculation, but not a few also highlight the ARMY split as an interesting social phenomenon. In the K-pop industry, open conflicts between artists and agencies often end badly. For this reason, the word versus becomes very sensitive, even when no real conflict has yet been proven. That on the other hand, HYBE remained on his consistent attitude, professional and minimal response to rumors. For a company as big as HYBE, fan speculation is nothing new. But this time it's different, because at the center of the issue is Jungkook, a figure who has not only commercial, but also emotional value for millions of people around the world. HYBE's silence is interpreted differently. Some consider it a form of trust. Others see it as a distance to eye in the midst of this frenzy. There were also voices of the ARMY trying to calm the situation. They remind that Jungkook is a human being, not a symbol of conflict. That every change does not necessarily mean a showdown. That true support is not born of theory, but of patience. Yet these voices are often drowned out among more emotional and provocative debates. Interestingly, this speculation also opens a wider discussion about idol and agency relationships in the modern K-pop era. Can global artists still be completely free in a big system? Should loyalty always be read as obedience? And where do fans stand in this dynamic? Jungkook, consciously or unconsciously, is now a mirror of those questions. Until now, there has been no mention of any conflict between Jungkook and HYBE. Everything in circulation is still in the realm of interpretation and assumption. But the impact is already tangible. The ARMY, which usually unites in one voice, now has to deal with differences in internal perspectives. An irony, considering BTS's message so far has been about empathy, understanding, and togetherness. Perhaps, behind all this, there is one thing worth pondering. Jungkook never asked to be made a symbol of resistance, nor did he ever declare himself a victim of the system. It just keeps going, in its own way, in the silence that is precisely the noisiest interpreted. And as long as no truth has yet been spoken directly by him, all speculation should have stopped at the limit of respect. The army is divided, yes. But it is precisely at this point that the maturity of the fandom is tested. Whether to continue to enlarge the abyss by assumption or choose to wait with confidence. Because in the end, it is not the company, not the media, that suffers the most from this silent conflict, but Jungkook himself, an artist who from the beginning only wanted to sing, not become a battleground of opinion. And as the debate heats up, one thing that cannot be denied is how big Jungkook's position is in the army's heart. He is not just a member of BTS, but a symbol of a long journey, hard work from a young age, and a dream that grew up with millions of fans. For this reason, every issue that touches his name feels personal. For many soldiers, defending Jungkook meant defending a part of themselves. On social media, the dividing line is clear. There is an army that demands that speculation be stopped in order to protect Jungkook from unnecessary mental stress. They remind how K-pop idols are often victims of exaggerated public narratives. But on the other hand, there are also those who feel that silence is dangerous. They believe that loud discussions are a form of caring, an effort to keep Jungkook's voice, even if inaudible, championed. This situation exposes the paradox of modern fandom. The greater the love, the greater the anxiety. Jungkook, who chose to maintain privacy, instead made an empty space filled by endless interpretations. Each of his gestures is analyzed, each pause is considered coded, each silence is interpreted as a veiled message. In a climate like this, the line between caring and pressure is becoming increasingly blurred. Observers of the Korean entertainment industry call this phenomenon a consequence of extreme popularity. When an artist reaches Jungkook's level, he is no longer just dealing with agency and work, but also the collective expectations of global fans. In this context, the HYBE is often placed as a symbol of a large system that is considered to be able to curb. In fact, the reality of artist and agency relationships is much more complex than the black and white narratives that circulate. Interestingly, some army veterans actually see a repeating pattern. They reminded that BTS once went through similar phases, where rumors and speculation arose in the middle of a career transition. The difference is that now Jungkook stands as an adult individual with an increasingly strong identity.